So the plan again is to source the budget for this from Bayanihan 2. We do know that Bayanihan 2 is already expired, but you still have some remaining budget here from SB Corp. How much is that going to be, and would that be enough at least to shoulder this particular loan facility?
Well, our initial request was 200 million, but I think they can go even up to 500 million. I just don't know the detail yet, no? And when we approached Secretary Bello, he readily agreed to support this, and so we touched base with Secretary Dominguez and Secretary Mon Lopez, and we identified the SB Corporation as the one which is the fund. No?
Mhm.
So we requested that possibly it should be a fund that is uh, interest free, at
Okay.
least for 1 year, the lending
Mhm.
for 1 year, and as much as possible, the simpler the better in the processing. No? And I actually proposed that maybe Dole just certify to the companies that are going to avail of the loan, and that should suffice. Unlike the one we did last year, where the employers did not borrow from, because that was intended for other purposes, and medyo sinama lang yung ano. And what happened was merong interest.
Mhm.
The processing is quite difficult, so nobody availed of it.
Mhm. So this time, at least, you are expecting that making it interest free to at least make it more palatable for small businesses here. How many employees are you looking at here, which you think will benefit from the loan facility?
Well, I was initially, when we proposed this, looking at half of the MSMEs and who are still operating, and we do not know how many of them will be able to afford paying the 30-month pay without availing of the loan. So we're looking probably for about what 200 thousand companies, 200 companies maybe for 400 because we have 800,000 MSME.
Mhm.
So we're looking at the half of that to be probably the ones who might look at availing of the loans.
Mhm. Are there any specific industries or sectors which you think might be in bigger need of this particular loan facility?
Well, obviously the ones who are involved with the non-essentials, no?
Mhm.
Talking of restaurant, and tourism, those are the ones most affected.
Mhm.
So and many of them actually stopped operating.
Mhm.
So I think they're the ones affected uh, this pandemic.
Okay, but the question is, you have at least in the proposal, 20,000 pesos as 13-month pay. Is this going to be enough? How is this different from an ayuda, and why not push for an ayuda instead?
Well, actually, what happened is the new system got rid of the ayuda. If you remember before, if the workers are not working, they're given ayudas. Right?
Mhm.
But with the new system, the only one given ayudas is the ones who are under the gradual lockdown.
Mhm.
So, of course, we can shoot for the moon, but we know already that there is no fund for it anymore. So that's why we opt for the what might be workable, which is for those who want to pay 13-month pay and their cash flow will not allow it to
Mhm.
be able to borrow.
Okay, but what's the basis here for the 12,000 pesos?
Pardon?
What's the basis for the 12,000 pesos as the 13-month pay?
I don't know. I think that basically 13-month pay is basically computed in how many days you work within a year.
Mhm.
No? So if you work 6 months within the year, the 1 month salary will be divided into two. You will be
Okay.
paid the equivalent of 6 months. That is the 13 month pay. That's how it's computed. 12,000, I think, is a number which probably they just used. But the 13 month pay varies depending on the salary and the length of time that somebody worked.
Mhm. Now, you're working on the guidelines. How's that coming along so far?
Yeah, yeah. We were able to have DTI, uh, uh, the the SB Corporation, which is under DTI, and Dole being the one tracing out the details
Mhm.
of this. And I
Mhm.
think more or less they've come to some settlement already, except on the identification of who are qualified. No? Uh, because basically, uh, there must be some assurance that these are really are the ones qualified to borrow against it, and that admittedly there is a risk that the fund is taking on this because some of them might even close
Mhm.
and might not be able to repay. But that is the nearest to a you that that we can expect from this.
Mhm. But is there an assurance, sir, na even for those employees na hindi naman required pumasok, that they will also receive at least this 13-month pay?
No, the 13-month pay follows a basic rule.
Okay.
Whatever you have worked, or basically you receive your salary, that is the basis also of the computation of the 13-month pay.
Mhm. Okay. Now, are there big companies as well which at least expressed interest in applying for loans, or these are mostly MSMEs?
At the moment, I don't really know. But I think big companies who are operating should be able to afford it,
Mhm. Mhm.
that 13-month pay, which is required under the law. And
Okay.
I don't think many of the big companies will go to this window.